Let's get through this. I gotta get me some fake booze next time I'm gonna do this. Alright, so I finished Jessica Jones Season 2, because I know a heck of a lot of commenters were telling me on actually not only my review of the first 3 episodes of Jessica Jones, which was explicitly labeled a review of only the first 3 episodes, but also my more recent video about what I think is the not-so-bright future of Marvel Netflix, that I need to not run my mouth until I've seen the whole season. Well, I've seen the whole season, so you can all shut up and listen to me bitch. But look, but before I get into all that, because obviously I'm a surly drunk, clearly, this was not as bad as I feared based off the trailers and honestly the first 3 episodes. It did get better, and then it got worse again. Basically, there's a chunk in the middle that worked really well for me, and in a surprising way. I'm gonna get into spoilers if you haven't figured that out already. So, when we get the twist of Jessica's mother being alive and kind of sort of being the villain of the season, my first initial reaction was, oh, you have got to be kidding me. I just thought that was the stupidest thing that they could possibly have thought to do. And then the very next episode, they devoted the entire episode to giving full context to what happened to her, why she was away for a while, why she would have actually voluntarily taken herself away from Jessica even after trying to get in touch with her, and where Jessica herself was at the time of all of this. And that's probably my favorite episode of the season, because it gets really at the heart of the characters and the consequences of what they do and why they're doing what they're doing. And it sold me on an idea I rejected, like, initially and harshly. It sold me on it. Now, it didn't suddenly make the entire season good. It just meant that this massive hole that the twist had dug just got filled in and smoothed over. And then, honestly, the next few episodes focusing on Jessica, trying to deal with her mother were pretty good. I would say up until her mother ends up in jail. Then it starts to waver. Then her mother breaks out. And then I didn't care. The last 2 episodes, the last episode especially, was just a sea of nothing. And I mean, let me figure out the other things positive that I can say, because as tends to happen, I know from experience at this point, once I start talking negatives, that's where my brain's gonna stay. I think the MVP for the supporting cast is gonna be Malcolm. I liked Malcolm in the first season. I really like him in this, and he makes a ton of sense to me. I like, the emphasis on how important it is for him to keep busy, because it's how he stays out of trouble to the best that he's able to. I mean, yeah, I get that. So, and actually the guy who was the super in Jessica's building, didn't like him at first. He grew on me, and his relationship with Jessica grew on me. He had one moment in particular where they're in Jessica's apartment. Jessica kind of, I was gonna say she throws herself at him. She doesn't really, but she starts to try and unbuckle his pants, and he kind of goes, whoa, 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 whoa. And he says, this is not normal. And she's like, yeah, I know, I'm not normal. And he really emphasized, like, no, not you, this, what you're doing right now, this is not normal. And that was a really cool moment. Somewhat undercut a little bit later when they actually did get it on in his apartment, and she was clearly distraught, and somehow he thought it was okay and healthy this time. Yeah, but overall I liked him. His kid was annoying, but the kid fulfilled his plot function, so that worked well enough. Jessica's mother was well performed for what was required of her. We'll go with that very specific phrase. Jessica herself was good, not great. I think I mean, I'm just gonna have to start getting to the negatives. I mean, the main thing is this season did not have the focus of the previous season, because the previous season, everything circled around Jessica, her damage, specifically the damage from Kilgrave. So everything circled her and him, and their connection, their relationship, and what he did to her. Everything came back to that. This time, not so much. While I can say that Jessica's whole thing with her mother was the overall sort of point and heart of the season, not everything kept coming back to it. And maybe they're thinking, oh, well, we'll branch out and whatnot, except that a good, strong focus for most of the first season. Even that had a couple of episodes towards the end that were more or less filler, and they were the weakest part of that season. But the focus was such a big part of why the first season was great, and it's just not here. I think nobody embodies that better than Hogarth. I like Hogarth as a character, but there is no point to her storyline. And it's actually not even a bad storyline. She portrays her fears, her concerns about everything she's going through really well, actually. It's even pretty well written. But it doesn't contribute to anything. It doesn't tie back into what's going on with Jessica or Jessica's mother or even what's going on with Trish or any of it. It's... Hogarth was in the first season because she had specific plot functions to contribute. She's in this season because she was in that season. What she does in this season does not actively contribute to the story really at all. And that's not even restricted to recurring characters, because we've got somebody like Price, who was useless. What a pointless, stupid... Like, he set off a couple of plot points, but it was totally possible to not have to come up with this idiot of a character who goes on about how professional of a PI he is, but who can't seem to do any degree of decent investigation, and then tries to murder a woman. Like, what the... No, this guy was dumb and stupid. And actually, somebody commented in one of my on one of my earlier videos that they called this season an idiot plot. And if that's not a term you're familiar with, it's a plot that the narrative only moves forward because people are acting like idiots. And if people stopped and acted rationally and just thought about what they did instead of doing something really dumb, this story wouldn't happen the way it does. The only way it can happen is if people act stupid. I actually think it's a slight overstep to apply that to Jessica Jones Season 2, but I will say I understood why this commenter accused it of being that. There's a lot of stuff that goes on that is just characters acting really, really dumb. And I'm not saying you can never have characters act stupidly or foolishly, but when it's almost all of them, and it seems to be the only way that any of the plots move forward, that's a problem. You don't have to have perfect characters who never make mistakes, but when it seems like every character is making mistakes, that doesn't work. So, I mean, Hogarth is making stupid decisions in terms of, the vulnerability she opens up to herself with this woman that she doesn't even know. Again, understandable, but she's acting dumb for that reason. Price literally never does anything smart the entire time he's on screen. He's a friggin' idiot. Trish's mom has a number of stupid moments, including contributing to another thing that was overused in this season, which is the magical expositional news network. Always the right broadcast on at the right time, so the correct characters hear exactly that headline. Yay! And Trish's mom got to factor into that, so the double annoyance right there. But if we really want to talk about characters acting like idiots, Trish. I liked Trish in the first season. I liked her dynamic with Jessica. I thought she was a really positive influence on the show. I kind of hated her in this First of all, she's dealing with threads left over from what was the least interesting plot line in the first season, which was the whole enhancement inhaler thing, which wasn't interesting then. Why did they think that was a plot line worth continuing, a thread worth picking up? And then having her get this obsession and mad jealousy that, you know, Jessica has powers and I don't. And like there could have been something there. There's an honesty to the idea that she is jealous of Jessica and what Jessica can do. But the degree that they pushed it to, and I don't care if they tried to justify it with drug withdrawal, but the degree that they pushed it to just breaks the character to the point that one of two things happens. Either I don't buy it, which makes it bad writing, or I buy it and now hate her, which ruins a character. So pick your poison. Either way, it's screwed up. Coming back to Jessica's mom, I had given, you know, that selective praise of her as far as the performance goes, but she acts really dumb too. She does admittedly have the excuse of being crazy, so she's got that going for her, I guess. What's everybody else's excuse? You know, we had Kilgrave back for one episode, which I liked, but also was unnecessary and very much a gimmick. But I did still enjoy. I'll admit to that. I'm not above, you know, giving into a bit of fan service. I liked that his showing up was triggered by Jessica taking a life. I thought that was a good trigger because it was the thing. It was the thing that he told her to do that broke his spell over her. You know, even prior to the first season. So that makes sense. I just like having David Tennant back in this part. He's really good at it. So that worked. And I mean, in general, I kind of like these character that's just in your head thing, especially if it's kind of an antagonistic relationship. I enjoy that as a narrative device, as a character piece, as a trope. I kind of like that. I love second season of Farscape with Harvey in Crichton's head. I love that stuff. But ultimately, it didn't mean anything. It was just there. I do really like the note he left on, which was just, I'll be here if you need me. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool and all that. But ultimately, it didn't serve any point. It didn't move anything forward. And it didn't really feed into the themes of the season. At least what I thought the theme of the season was. Because it seems to be doing this whole thing with, you know, family and the impact of your past and being able to live with that, cope with that, and all that stuff. And Kilgrave, he doesn't build on those family themes the same way. His deal was a whole other deal. And so shoving him in there isn't elevating what it seems like the show's trying to do. Maybe that's not what the show was trying to do. The show seemed really confused because the whole plot with Jessica and her mother honestly could have probably made for a really good 8, you know what? Probably not even 8, probably 6 episodes of television. Really tight, really focused, could have been really good, but it wasn't. It's meandering and slow to kick off. When it's the central focus for kind of the middle, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes or so, it does pretty well, but then it starts meandering again and then ends in a conclusion that's just weird. There was a line that her mother had that I literally burst out laughing. I'm pretty sure this was the last episode, where Jessica's like, you know, I tried calming you, I tried capturing you, and her mother goes, you didn't try joining me. I'm like, can we just dub in Darth Vader? Join me, and we will rule the galaxy. It's like, what is this? And it just, you know, I kind of gave her mother a pass when I said she's crazy, except her crazy is just, she has what I tend to term plot convenientitis, which is a medical or mental condition that kicks in every time you need it to impact the plot and otherwise goes away. And she's got that in spades. You want another example? Cosima had that over on Orphan Black. Got sick whenever it was, it would move the plot along, and then otherwise was fine. So, yeah, this, again, to come back to what I said when I started, this is not awful. There's some decent stuff in here, and it's not as bad as I was afraid it was going to be. It's better than Iron Fist. I can't say whether or not it's better than The Punisher, because I didn't finish The Punisher. And I've heard, very mixed things about that, but Punisher didn't grip me. I didn't finish it, so I can't tell you. I would rewatch this again before I would watch Iron Fist again, before I would watch The Defenders again. I put it close to Luke Cage, first season of Luke Cage. I don't know which one I would rank higher, because they both have significant chunks that aren't great. Luke Cage, they're more confined to the back end. Jessica Jones, they're more spread around. But regardless of this not being as bad as I was afraid it was going to be, it's a massive step down from the first season, which came in with a really clear, distinct mission and point and goal, and executed it almost to perfection. Like I said, little flabby, few too many episodes, but it had the focus that made it so strong that this season just doesn't have at all. So that's it. That's Jessica Jones season 2. And I mean, and they set up crap with Trish, I'm sure to become Hellcat, which I doubt we are ever going to see. You can see my other video on Netflix to find out why I don't think we're ever going to see that. But Jessica Jones season 2. Did you get through the whole thing? What are your thoughts on it? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's all the stuff to do, like and subscribe, and I've got a Patreon and a Twitter and a P.O. box, and you can buy a t-shirt, and links for all this stuff and more is down in the description. So until next time, this council is adjourned.